Innovative architecture, high cultural level, and enviable pace of life. It is a World Heritage Site in itself, with an exemplary rail system and a distinctive air that reminds us of where we stand. Home to numerous museums, highly prestigious universities, and holder of a record that only a few know. Welcome to Rotterdam. On the banks of the Meuse River and less than 80 kilometers from the capital, Amsterdam, is placed Rotterdam, the second largest city in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Located in the province of South Holland and close to other nationally renowned cities such as Utrecht or The Hague, Rotterdam offers a picturesque landscape to every visitor who ventures into the Dutch countryside. Around 650,000 people live here, not counting its metropolitan area, where the number reaches more than 2.5 million. Rotterdam is known as the Manhattan of the Meuse due to its urban panorama and its vast collection of tall buildings, something, without a doubt, unusual in the northern side of Europe. In addition, since it is directly connected to the North Sea, it owes a lot to the maritime influence that relies on it. Rotterdam has seen its peak thanks to its geographic and naval relevance, the founding of the Dutch East India Company in the early 17th century, and the economic and cultural debacle of the neighboring Belgian city of Antwerp. From there, Rotterdam grew to become the most important port in the Netherlands. The city had to rise from one of the darkest moments in its history after suffering, on May 14, 1940, the bombing of its entire historic center at the hands of the Nazi army, who had already launched numerous threats claiming the Dutch people to surrender, so the perpetrators can be able to attack France from the north through this territory. More than 800 civilians were killed in the attack. After these black times, the city had to rebuild almost entirely, and modernist and avant-garde architecture took center stage. In the essence that the city transmits, the Leibahn stands out, an open-air shopping center opened in 1953 and an emblem of the restructuring of Rotterdam. We can also highlight the construction of the Euromast, a tower designed by the local architect Hugh Maxcont and built in 1960 with the purpose of further embellishing the landscape of the city. The Euromast measures almost 185 meters and is the tallest building in the country. After the first years of restructuring, Rotterdam was united with the modernist concept in such a way that the city is full of buildings with peculiar and even surreal designs, which makes it iconic and unique. Clear examples of these are the Kubuswoningen or cube houses, designed by Piet Blom and built in 1984. The Pauluskerk or Paul's Church, more than singular Protestant church renovated in 2013. The Erasmus Bridge, which connects the northern and southern parts of the city, was built in 1996 and is an unmistakable emblem of Rotterdam. And the Allegorical Market Hall, a building inaugurated in 2014 by Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, that consists of a fruit and vegetable market surrounded by 228 residential homes with interior views. It is considered the Sixtine Chapel of Rotterdam due to the magnificent decoration of the ceiling, which has more than 4,000 aluminum mosaics and uses a novel 3D animation technique. In addition, if you decide to arrive in Rotterdam, you will probably do it by train, so your first place to visit will be the incomparable Central Station, which not only serves as a railway station, but also has cafes, restaurants, shopping centers, a touristic information office, and even a public piano that can be played for free by any passionate who passes through the place. For the lovers of indoor activities who enjoy history or art, Rotterdam is a destination that they will find very attractive. A large number of museums are available throughout the city, flooding it with culture and diversity. The most representative museum is the Boijmans Bamboinigen Museum. Opened in 1849 and home to various pictorial currents from Impressionism, Surrealism, Modernism, or Abstract movement, it contains works by renowned authors such as Claude Monet, Vasily Kandinsky, Paul Cézanne, René Magritte, Edvard Munch, Salvador Dalí, Pablo Picasso, and the exponents of local art, Rembrandt and Vincent van Gogh. The city also has an ethnographic museum called Wereldmuseum or World's Museum, where artifacts and utensils from various parts of the globe are exhibited, an art museum called Kunsthal, opened in 1992 and which has served as a home for exhibitions by artists such as Chuck Close, Arne Quince, or Andy Warhol, and the highly regarded Maritime Museum, dedicated to the naval power of the area and located in the city's harbor. In terms of education, Rotterdam is home to one of the most prestigious universities in the world, the Erasmus University, which is named after the Dutch philosopher and theologian Desiderius Erasmus and was founded in 1913. Its Faculty of Management and Economics is very well known among the European community, and its Faculty of Medicine as well as the medical center that is located there are by far the best in the Netherlands and one of the most prominent in Europe. The second largest city in the Netherlands has also a rich sports tradition. Thanks to this, it has earned the nickname City of Sports. A large number of world-class sporting events are organized annually in the city, such as the Rotterdam Marathon, one of the most prestigious races in Europe, which, thanks to the local geography, has one of the quickest circuits in the world. Many records have been broken in Rotterdam, including the one achieved by the Ethiopian long-distance runner Tiki Gelana, who won the competition in 2012 and months later broke the Olympic record and was champion in London. Rotterdam has organized rounds of the Red Bull Air Race Championships in 2005 and 2008 and has hosted the automobile exhibition known as Monaco on the Maas, or Monaco on the Muse, a demonstration in the streets of the city, which their participants were mostly Dutch drivers who were part of categories such as Champ Car, Dakar Rally, or Formula 1, among others. Local drivers such as Ho Ping Tung, Christian Albers, and Robert Doornbos, all of them with experience in Formula 1, were the main attraction at the event between 2005 and 2007. Rotterdam is also the city where several exponents of Dutch sport were born, such as former captain of the national football team Giovanni van Bronckhorst, remembered for his goal against Uruguay in the semi-finals of the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa, considered by many to be among the best goals in the history of the World Cup.
He's gone from range and he's found an absolute beauty. Stunning goal.
Liverpool midfielder Georginio Wijnaldum, famous for to be part of the 2019-2020 Premier League champion team and for taking a key role by scoring 2 goals in the historic comeback against Barcelona in the second leg of the 2018-2019 UEFA Champions League semi-final. Striker Robin van Persie, also remembered for the goal he scored against Spain in the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil, which earned him the Puskas Award for the best goal of the year. Tennis player Richard Krajicek, the only Dutch tennis player who won a Grand Slam singles tournament after beating Bijleveld Washington in the 1996 Wimbledon final. The hockey player and 3 times Olympic medalist Fatima Moreira de Mello, the center Francisco Elson, NBA champion in 2007 with the San Antonio Spurs, and the recently mentioned Robert Doornbos, among others. Due to its sports culture, Rotterdam has several venues where competitions in various sports can be held. The one that stands out the most among the closed stadiums is the Ahoy, a convention center with a capacity for 16,000 people where two of the most significant sporting events in the city take place: the 6 Days of Rotterdam and the Rotterdam Tennis Open. In the first one, the stadium becomes a velodrome to host one of the most iconic track cycling events. This has been carried out uninterruptedly since 1971 and consists of a team competition that lasts 6 nights, in which the group that gives the most laps to the circuit will be the winner. In the second one, the Ahoy becomes a tennis court to receive the best players in the world every February in the framework of an ATP 500. Notable players such as Arthur Ashe, Jimmy Connors, Guillermo Vilas, Boris Becker, Andy Murray, and Roger Federer have been champions in Rotterdam. Ahoy, in turn, hosted numerous world championships, such as the 1989 FIFA Futsal World Championship, the 2009 World Judo Championship, the 2010 World Artistic Gymnastics Championship, the 2011 World Table Tennis Championship, the 2014 UCI BMX World Championship, and the 2017 World Short Track Speed Skating Championship. The Ahoy also organized the European Volleyball Championships for women in 2015 and men in 2019, and was selected to be the host venue for the 2021 Eurovision Song Contest after the Netherlands won the festival in 2019 with the song Arcade by Duncan Lawrence. The Ahoy undoubtedly has a strong presence in the sporting side of the city, but Rotterdam doesn't find its favorite sports scene in it, but rather at the Stadium Feyenoord, better known as the Whip, Dutch for the tub. This stadium is the largest in the city and the second largest in the country after the Johan Cruyff Arena, with a capacity for more than 51,000 spectators. It was inaugurated in 1937, last renovated in 1994, and serves as the home of both Feyenoord, Rotterdam's biggest team, and some matches of the Netherlands national football team. The venue has hosted a large number of memorable matches, such as the final of the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup in 1963, which Tottenham won by a resounding 5-1 to Atletico de Madrid. Or the final match of the UEFA Euro that the country co-organized with Belgium in 2000, where France, with a golden goal scored by David Trezeguet in the 103rd minute, clinched their second continental trophy by defeating Italy's Paolo Maldini, Luigi Di Baggio, and Francesco Totti. But with no place of a doubt, the most unforgettable moment for fans in the city was lit in 2002, an event that would give the stadium and the city a record that is still in force in European football. In mid-2001, UEFA selected the Whip as the stadium that will host the 2002 UEFA Cup final, which would give Rotterdam a high touristic and economic incentive. But in the city, they never imagined the outcome of that election. The participation of Dutch teams in that competition began with 4 representatives of local football, but no team from Rotterdam. Qualifiers were the ever-powerful Ajax from Amsterdam, 20 from the city of Enschede, Roda JC based in Kerkrade, and Utrecht from the neighboring city of the same name. They all advanced to the second round, but only Roda JC made it to the third round, where 2 more teams from the UEFA Champions League group stage will join. These teams were PSV from the city of Eindhoven and the local Feyenoord, who had not been able to qualify for the round of 16 of the top club competition at European level and had to settle for playing the decisive phases of the current UEFA Europa League, at that time known as the UEFA Cup. Roda JC, PSV and Feyenoord all advanced to the 4th round, where Roda fell on the road against Milan on penalties. In the quarterfinals, luck brought Feyenoord and PSV together in the same bracket. One of the two will fall by the wayside, but that will ensure a Dutch semi-finalist. The first leg was in Eindhoven and was refereed by the famous Pierluigi Collina. Pierre van Hooijdonk scored the first goal for the visitors at the end of the first half, but 2 minutes after the start of the second half, and taking advantage of a marvelous pass from Mark van Bommel, Matthijs Kesman scored the tie that will be the final result. In the second leg, in the finals stadium, the visiting team scored everything in the second half through Van Bommel himself. the relentless Pierre van Hooijdonk equalized in the 93rd minute and sentenced the fate of penalties, where the local team prevailed thanks to Edwin Sartevier's save against Gyoki Gakokitse in the third penalty, and the final mark of his striker in the decisive shot. Feyenoord was one step away from the final. In the semi-finals, it was to be measured against Inter, who, although they had a 13-year streak without winning the Scudetto, had come from being UEFA Cup champion in the 1997-1998 edition and had a great team with figures such as Clarence Seedorf, Alvaro Recoba, Laurent Blanc, Adriano and Ronaldo. In the other bracket, Borussia Dortmund will face Milan, and in the newspapers the possible definition between Italian teams was already present. But the Feyenoord had other plans. After a close encounter in the first leg, the team led by Bert van Marwijk managed to take the lead after Colombian defender Ivan Cordova scored an own goal at the 6th minute of the second half. With this result, the Dutch team will be in the final if they achieved a draw at home, which they did not without suffering. First Van Hooijdonk and then Jondal Thomasson scored for the Rotterdam cast in the first half. The series seemed settled, but at the end of the match, first Cristiano Zanetti in the 83rd minute and then Mohamed Kalon in the 89th tied the match on the scoreboard and left the local fans in suspense. Time passed and Feyenoord prevailed, achieving something unprecedented so far. They became the first team to access a European club final to be hosted in their own stadium since UEFA defined one-match finals in 1998. On the other side will be Borussia Dortmund, that had eliminated Milan by 5-3 on the aggregate. The final was analyzed a lot in the previous days. Despite being home to the Quip, Borussia Dortmund arrived in Rotterdam as the favorites. They came from being Bundesliga's champions and from scoring 4 goals to Milan in the first leg of the semifinals. The German team was looking to join the selected group of winners of the 3 biggest trophies in Europe, the UEFA Champions League, the UEFA Cup and the UEFA Super Cup, where Ajax, Bayern Munich and Juventus already were. Feyenoord meanwhile had not won a continental title since 1974, when they beat Tottenham in the final of that edition of the UEFA Cup.
Furthermore, Dutch football had not won an international title since Ajax won the UEFA Champions League in the 1995 edition.
The match started with a parity basis. Pierre van Hooijdonk would warn what was coming with a free kick off the post, and Eden Nilsson missed it in front of a goal in the other box. But half an hour into the game came the first great excitement of the night in Rotterdam. After a compromised pass and poor control, the German defender Jurgen Kohler committed a clear penalty to Jondal Thomasson in front of a goal. Kohler was sent off in what would be his last game as a professional player. Pierre van Hooijdonk scored and Feyenoord took the lead in the final at home. 7 minutes later, and after a foul committed by Marcio Moroso on a very young Robin van Persie, again Van Hooijdonk took responsibility for a free kick that, despite being somewhat far away, was not going to stop the man of the moment in the city of Rotterdam. Caressed ball and 2-0 Feyenoord. The halftime arrived and it could not be more encouraging for the local team. But the second half did not start in the same way. A counter-attack with some fortune for Borussia Dortmund fell at the feet of Amoroso, who was grabbed in the box by Patrick Power, and the referee Vitor Melo of Portugal gave a penalty. The one who took the responsibility was Marcio Amoroso himself, who tricked Sartevier and sent the ball to the back of the net. 2-1. However, Feyenoord will not give up and will get the third goal just 3 minutes after the German warning. After an outstanding assist from Gingy Ono, Jondal Thomasson sent the ball in with a strong right foot shot. seemed a game over. However, never consider a German team dead. Borussia, still with one man less on the pitch, will play their chips and end up scoring a new goal in the 58th minute through its Czech giant, Jan Kola, who took this bomb into the goalkeeper's right angle. 3-2 and more than half an hour to play. Despite repeated attempts by Dortmund to get a cross to the head of their fearsome centre-forward, Feyenoord were able to defend the victory and prevail in the result. They had succeeded, and the city had the trophy at home. Feyenoord were UEFA Cup champions for the second time in their history, achieving something that no other team could achieve to this day. Being UEFA Cup champions in their own stadium since the one-match finals were established in 1998. In addition, they entered the extremely small group of European competition champion teams in his home stadium, together with Real Madrid, champions of the 1956-1957 European Cup against Fiorentina at the Estadio Santiago Bernabéu, and Inter, winner of the 1964-65 edition of the European Cup at San Siro against Benfica. Other teams that came very close to getting this group were Roma, who lost on penalties to Liverpool in the 1983-1984 European Cup final played at the Estadio Olimpico, Sporting Lisbon, who lost 3-1 to CSKA Moscow in the last match of the 2005 UEFA Cup, which took place at the José Alvalade Stadium in the Portuguese capital, and Bayern Munich, who lost at the Allianz Arena to Chelsea, also on penalties, in the definition of the 2011-2012 UEFA Champions League. Rotterdam can boast of its magnificent lifestyle, enviable architecture and superb care for Dutch culture. But what it can be proud of is that in 2002, it defended the house and entered into the great history of European football.